All right, so now we'll go ahead and get started with some of our updates for the morning. For the first update is from our California Association for Local Economic Development, better known as CalEd. And so with that, we want to welcome Laura Cole, who's the Membership and Rural Exchange Coordinator. So please let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, George, and it's really nice to be here. I recognize a lot of your names because I am the membership person, so it's really nice to see faces with names. As George said, I'm Laura Cole. I'm the Membership and Rural Exchange Coordinator with CalEd. Gerbak Sahota, our CEO, was supposed to be here today, but we financed through our CETA program an expansion of the Holocaust Museum in Los Angeles about 6 months ago. And today is the groundbreaking. So her and Michelle went down there, and it was a $50 million conduit bond. So they're very honored to be there today. I know they left about 6:30 this morning out of Sacramento. So I have this, and I'm glad to do this. So how many of you are familiar with CalEd? Well, that's great. I know a lot of you are members. CalEd is the largest economic development association in California, and probably the USA as well. We're almost up to 900 members, which is my charge, and gets a little hectic keeping up with all of you with job changes and title changes and what you're doing. We're established in 1980, and what we do is teach economic developers, elected officials, and state representatives the value of economic development and how it's used to grow business, generate revenue, which supports community programs and creates and retain quality jobs. Now that sounds really simple, right? I mean, we all get it, but a lot of people don't understand what economic development really means. So I don't know why it's become such a controversial term sometimes. Oh, it's economic development, but that's what we do, and we are the backbone of many communities. I have a handout in the back that kind of tells what we do and who we are. So we were established in 1980. A lot of the things that we've done in the past year include legislation and then promoting and making people understand what economic development is. So with legislation this year, we really championed some meaningful legislation that has to do with Surplus Lands Act. Does anybody have any issues with Surplus Lands Act? I'm sorry, Ricardo. Just a couple issues. So this year we championed legislation to kind of do some cleanup of that. We didn't get everything that we wanted, but we hope to again this year with some cleanup language. We know that there are legislators out there that want to push their own programs. And I mean, we understand with SLA and the housing community development that, housing is important, right? I mean, we need places to house our workers, but not at the detriment to all of you being able to create buildings or industrial uses that will create jobs. So we do a lot of things in the realm of legislation. We always analyze the governor's budget, so that's going to be coming up here shortly in January, and his May revise. And we look to see what monies are there or budgeted for economic development. We keep everybody informed as a member, and we hold at least one webinar a month. believe it was last week, we did an SLA webinar on what those changes were that the governor signed. So that was an hour-and-a-half webinar and went through all the little details of when you are ready to dispose or sell a property that your city or county owns, what that will take now, what the restrictions are and the rules that you need to follow. The other thing with development is there's always this pot of money for industrial development bonds. And sometimes if it's not used, it goes back into iBank. So this year, we had an opportunity to finance a small business in Lincoln, California, wholly owned by a family up there. It's coffee roasting, and we were able to secure and had to fight for $30 million of that to do a bond, and that did go through. We do engage in the SURF program, or what is now known as California Jobs First, on behalf of economic development practitioners. So one of the big things that we've done this year is really to try to educate not only electeds, but the general public on what economic development is. So that's been one of our big focuses this year. If you go to our website at calad.org, you'll see a cute little, I don't want to call it a cartoon, but a very cute video of what economic development is in very layman's terms, because some people don't understand. And you're welcome to, look at it, ask permission if you can use it, or link to our website. And we've done other things like that in the past as well. Some graphics that are there that show what economic development does. So back to our CETA program, we do a lot of economic development financing, primarily for nonprofits such as the Holocaust Museum. And the other thing we did this year is we created a new division called PD and F, not to be confused with PDFs. It's called Project Development and Finance. And we're focusing on that with advocacy, technical assistance, and education around how do you put a project together. I mean, there's a lot of financing tools. I know you're familiar with them, but we are really focusing on that this year. In fact, we held, in October of 2022, we held our first summit meeting in Riverside, California. Then when we had our conference this year in Los Angeles, we had one day that was dedicated to that. And again, in January in Sacramento, it's part of a 2-day event where we'll have the summit again, and members and non-members can go. And we have great speakers that talk about how to put a project together. The second day of that is my specialty, which is rural economic development. And so we'll do our rural exchange again. And the reason we have rural exchange is a lot of rural communities feel that they don't fit in the box of regular economic development for urban and suburban communities. So they have their special things that they need, particularly infrastructure, Wi-Fi, roads, jobs, that kind of thing. So we meet usually about 3 times a year. We just met in Ukiah in September and had about almost 80 people there just to talk about their special problems and needs for rural communities. We do hold these briefings on occasion. We do have Webinar Wednesday, normally the first Wednesday of every month. We call on other practitioners to deep dive into some kind of special project or special financing. One we did recently was AI. Everybody wants to know how you use AI in your business. So we've had people that do that. So then we have the Rural Exchange, and we do go out and present to groups like you. We were down in Southern California earlier this year and presented to the San Gabriel Valley people. Gerbax does go around and either on video or in person talk to economic development staff as well as council people about economic development. We do have a program, and if you need it, let me know, and I'll get you in touch with Gerbax and Michelle about educating your elected officials. Do we have any elected people here? About economic development. So sometimes they all know what they want in economic development for the community, but it's how to get there. The handouts I have, which I'm kind of reading from, are in the back of the room. But one of the things that we did, and your mayor held up the book, was our TIF financing. No, Zach, it's over here on the back. It's this blue one. It's our second edition of TIF financing. Thank you. We wrote the first one about, I'm going to say about 5 years ago, and because of all the changes in the laws, we have an updated copy. So, I don't know where I am in 20 minutes. I mean, I've got time? Okay. So what we do is we really track bills and how it affects economic developers like you guys. And we'll educate you on it, tell you what's going on. We have a weekly e-newsletter. The Finance and Real Estate Committee, or the PD&F, is something that if you're a member, you can join and sort of shape what that committee does in the educational roles. And then the technical assistance that we do is trainings for communities as well as the elected officials. Now, where our training also goes, we have 2 programs. We have what we call the KEYS course, which is basic economic development course that we hold once a year in conjunction with Fresno State. And so we just held that in Lily. Yeah, oh, George was there. I think Lily was at the advanced course. How did you like it, George? So we do that once a year, and we had a totally full class. We had 60 people. So we do it both in person and hybrid. And so if you're interested in that, you need to email Helen. It's helen@caled.org. She's in charge of that program, and it fills up. I mean, it fills up really fast. So if you're thinking about it, as soon as it comes out, sign up for it because it does fill quickly. And then after the class, we have also an advanced class, Advanced Institute. And it's a full week, and it's also hybrid or in person in conjunction with Fresno State. And it's more of a deeper dive into economic development. I got to take both of the courses. I took the advanced course during COVID. And once you take the courses, both of them, and you have enough background and experience, you're eligible to take the accredited economic development test. And I was telling Lily earlier, think of it as a presentation to a city council. And so you present your case, and you have a couple of members of the academy, and the academy is part of CalEd, who does education. And then if you pass, you get to use the ACE designation. But besides the designation, it's really in-depth economic development programming. You'll learn everything about performers. And I mean, I know you all know a lot of this, but it's really a deep dive. And Lily's nodding her head. Thank you. Again, we have the resources. Our website is full of resources. If you have an issue or a problem, contact one of us, Michelle, Helen, myself or Gerbax, and we can help you through it. And that's pretty much it, George. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Stephen is one of our board members. And let's see, I'm looking. Hi, yes.
Oh, my question is about Khaled, our conference next year. Can you give us a little preview? It's my favorite, so.
I can. When we get back from Thanksgiving vacation, we're starting the planning on it. It is at the Hyatt Wine Country, Santa Rosa, which is right off of downtown. Very nice hotel. And we'll be making an announcement. And thank you for asking that.